Hello guys, it is G here. Out for a walk. You guys get to come along with me a little bit. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about how keeping it real can be limiting in your life. So guys, subscribe to my channel and let's have a little chat. Okay, if you're looking at me and you're like, girl, you keeping it real, you ain't got no makeup on, not even lipstick. Usually I have on something on my face. But one of the things that I think that hold us in positions, one of the things that I think hold people back is the idea of keeping it real. And I don't mean like just becoming a phony asshole, but what it's more about is what people expect of you. What people expect from you based on who they think that you are. And a lot of times that's what's involved in keeping it real. The art of reinventing yourself actually starts with breaking habits and looking at yourself in a different perspective. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell my own story when I moved abroad. So if I tell my own story in this respect, I'm happy you're happy, darling. Okay, baby. If I tell my own story in my perspective of changing my life, one of the things that happened soon after leaving the United States was that I lost friends. And these were people who I thought were close to me. These were people who I imagined like I would know for the rest of my life. And there's no shade on them, but when you change, the people who no longer serve you start to fall away. And that's what I realized was probably happening. And I mean, it happened quick. Like, I hadn't even been gone a year when some of these people started to fall aside. And they'll of course say it was you or something like that, when you're like, well, I'm ultimately still the same as I always have been. But what happens is, of course, your purpose in their life has changed. And the purpose in your purpose in their life has changed. And that being said, a lot of times people can't handle who you are anymore. And it could just be financially. It could just be like what you do for them. It could be the vibe about you has changed. And a lot of times people are worried about showing different aspects of themselves because they're like, you know what, I keep it real. And a lot of times keeping it real means staying where you always have been, in places that aren't necessarily supportive of your growth or your journey. So when I left the United States, the first place I went was Guatemala. And I definitely started to, adjust my perspective on like money, on life, on what was important to me, because this experience there gave me perspectives that I hadn't had before. Even as being like a Black person, growing up and living around like Latino people and everything like that, and we all kind of saw ourselves as people of color. When I was living in Guatemala, I found out I was a gringo, y'all. And it wasn't because I was a person of color or like different than them, but they considered where I was living in Lake Atitlan, they even considered the people from Guatemala City gringos, because these were people who were descendants of the natives. They still spoke the language, and you know what? I couldn't get mad at them for thinking that about me. Even though my perspective had always been, and these are the people I grew around. I know it's Latino people who do not see themselves as people of color, all of that, but these were the people that I surrounded myself by, and we all had the same perspectives in respect to like who we were in this world, right? As people of color. And to go to another country and somebody's like, you're a gringo, here's the gringo charge and the gringo tax. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't we all brothers and sisters? No. And you know what? I didn't get mad at that, because in the truth of it, these are people who are descendant of the people who are native to that land, and who the fuck am I to come and invade their space, right? And I understood that, and I accepted it, because it's true. And I think that's probably one of the first places I started to understand different perspectives of being a person of color in a global society versus just my own little community and network. So I think even that starts to change one's perspective, and what was real starts to change, even in these little ways. So when I think about my life and I look back over the past of where I've been and where I could be, I shouldn't even be where I am right now. Not because of socioeconomic, well, yeah, partially because of socialization more than anything else. How I grew up in a place where people would often be like, you know, you have babies, you get married, you have more babies. If that doesn't work out, you just rinse and repeat until you fucking die. And if that was keeping it real, that's where I would be. You know, like that's exactly where I would be, and I wouldn't have been able to get past myself. And that's what it comes down to, is moving past yourself in order to live the life that you want and to have the perspectives on life that you want. And a lot of people don't do that because we feel this pressure, especially as Black women and maybe Black people in general, of keeping it real. Change means you're not keeping it real. Like doing things differently, maybe you're not keeping it real. And honestly, what is real is what's real to you. And I think that one of the things, and I'm so happy that and lucky that I have had people in my life who have been able to go through these reinventions with me and still see the core of me as the same, you know, who I am deep inside, my, you know, soul of souls still stands. I think that's where the realness comes in, but there's not everybody in your life who's going to appreciate this aspect of you and who you are at every phase of your life. Because at this point, you know, I've been an insecure little girl, I've been an insecure teenager, I've been a think I know it all, like young person, I've been a single mom, I've been a corporate baddie, I'm now like, you know, I've lived in the middle of nowhere and just been kind of like a lounge lizard of sorts, and then to just keep moving through this world, becoming whoever I was when I was in France, and now who I am as a stay-at-home mom. Now everybody can take all of these journeys, all these trips around the sun with you, all of these iterations of the life that you want to have. So yeah, I think that when we start talking about it, and I just guess I know that sometimes when people want to change their lives, they get stuck in the things that are expected of them. And this is one of the things that I think holds us back in life, because we fear change, we fear what everybody will say if we are making new choices for ourselves, that somehow we weren't the people we were when we presented ourselves originally. And that's just not the case. Everyone's allowed to change and evolve and grow in this human experience.
Coffee?
No, it's not coffee. It's for tea. Yes.
Then go tea.
No, not teeth. So yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for a while, because I have some friends back home going through some stuff and needing to change their lives, and sometimes it's a struggle, and the struggle isn't necessarily just the fact that we're going through something different. It's who we are afraid of being at the other side, because everything changes us a little bit, and our evolution in this world, in our personalities and who we want to be, we're allowed. Okay, honey, we're allowed to be different, and it doesn't make us any less real to ourselves. So I don't know, give yourself permission to be who you want to be at all points in life, and let this evolution that is this world be something that you aren't afraid of doing. So guys, subscribe to my channel and let's have a chat in the comments. Let me know what you think, and ciao ciao for now. Say bye.
Bye bye. Me want to hold it.